know when you're ready to roll.
Okay, I'm going to start the live stream now. Yeah, looks good.
All right, thank you. Well, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:02. Roll call. I think we're just missing Director Gibbs, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, I think we're all accounted for. The agenda, I just have one addition, which is the emergency funding request from Joe. So we'll add that. C. Does that work for you, Joe?
That's fine. If it works for you guys.
All right, looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
And can we do that by acclamation? All right.
Yes, sir.
Any announcements?
I have an announcement. As of today, we have 1,263 vetted ballots between the ones that have been mailed into Unilect and the ones that we have collected out of the ballot box in administration. The ballot box in administration will be available to people until 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, and then it will disappear. And we will have closed the mail-in ballot section of the AGM. There's still in-person voting available on Saturday morning down at the community center from 9 a.m. until 12:30.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay.
Any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into our new business. And Anne, our parliamentarian, is here. Thank you again, Anne, for being here this evening. I'll go ahead and hand it over to you in preparation for our upcoming AGM.
Well, we had a planning meeting or a pre-meeting meeting that took 3 hours, was it? It was long. Because this whole Zoom thing has added a whole new glitch in how we do things. So we've had to come up with some other ways to handle different things. And so the group wanted me to explain some of the things that will be happening with the Zoom. We're going to start out the meeting on Saturday, and after the greetings, Andrew is going to tell the authorization for why we can have a Zoom meeting, being the governor's proclamation, because we don't have permission to have a Zoom meeting in our bylaws for the annual meeting. So that's just to take and make clear to people that there is authorization from the governor's allowing certain things to happen during this COVID thing. And you remember the long rules that we read at the beginning of every meeting? That everybody kind of knows what's coming, and Paula hates having to read it. But we're going to have Andrew read the basic rules, but they're going to be a very short version. They're not going to be the whole thing. They're going to emphasize reminding the members of the requirements of decorum and civility, and that they're using Robert's rules, and that there's a speaker limits, and that that the state law says no business can be considered that wasn't in the notice for the meeting, and that a majority of the votes of all eligible members are required to reject the budget. But we realized we had to have some other rules that we got the group to agree to. So John and I are going to try to explain this. We're not going to demonstrate it. We'll demonstrate it at the meeting because there's probably going to be a whole lot of people that are not as sure about how to use Zoom. But we will read the special rules that have to be adopted. And so I wanted to go over them. And some of them come actually from if you haven't seen it, the new Robert's Rules of Order. which is no more pages than the old one, just a bigger format. And they have a whole section in the back about virtual meetings with suggested rules. So we pulled a few things from that. One of which we pulled is that each member is responsible for his or her internet connections. So we're not, as a club, and you aren't as a board, responsible for any difficulties anybody has. And please ask me any questions as you think of them. And we're going to have a different visual on it. The tech support will have a video of the chair to be displayed throughout the meeting. And it will also have the display of the member currently recognized to speak or report and nobody else. So there won't be board members sitting at the top because you know that board members, you're just regular members at this meeting, except when you're giving reports. Okay, we're going to disable chat during the meeting. We're going to ask that, John, did we decide that you will mute the mics?
There won't, well, if there's only 2 people in the meeting, then the mics are already pretty well muted.
Okay. And then there's a very interesting problem with how do we decide if there's a quorum present? So after considerable thinking, this is what we came up with, and we'd like to hear your responses to it. So here's the way the rule is stated right now, or the procedure. Using the number of people present on the Zoom participant list, the president will rule, taking into account that 1/3 of the numbers might be duplication of members or non-members. Andrew will rule whether or not a quorum is, or if a quorum is present or not. And like I'm thinking, most of the groups that I've worked with that have Zoom meetings, there's a lot more people present than are present in person, like from 200 to 400 at some of the meetings. So you probably will have enough people. And if, let's say there's 100 people present, Andrew will have the choice of either saying there's enough, I rule that there's enough present, and then anybody could object and raise a point of order. Or he can say, there are this, after Paula announces how many are on this Zoom meeting, he will say, using your raise the hand symbol, would you indicate whether you agree that that's enough for a quorum? And it'll either be declared a quorum or there will not be a quorum. And if there's not a quorum, we go right ahead with everything we always do, because we don't take any action at the annual meeting, and you only have to have a quorum for if you're going to take some action. Does that make sense? So introductions can be done, introductions of candidates, reading of the measures. Candidates probably won't speak. Well, they won't speak. We have that cut out because everybody's turned their ballots in already, right? Or by tomorrow, is it?
Yep.
So there's really no reason to have any discussion. If you want to, Andrew, you could decide whether or not to have any discussion of the measures, but it really doesn't seem important to do that, because one of the things that's important to do with the Zoom meeting is streamline it, particularly since we don't do any business. No action is taken at all. And so any way we can figure out to move through this makes it easier for both the members present and for the people leading it, so that you can get through what you need to get through and not linger. And so we want to do a lot of encouragement to cut things, keep things a little tighter. Does that make sense to people?
And it does. I just have one thing that we talked about at our other meeting, that rather than the board members signing in as panelists, they would be signing in as just joining the meeting in the audience, Did you change your mind on that,
No, but
John, or
they-
will they be signing on as panelists?
No, they will not be signing on as panelists.
Okay.
John, that's what we decided.
Yep.
Karen?
So just make sure I'm understanding. So if we're not panelists, we're just in the audience. In past years, we have presented like committee reports and whatnot. We've all written those up. So are we not doing that
Well,
then?
we are doing that,
Okay.
but you will be put up on the screen when you're asked to present your report.
Okay. Thanks.
So anybody that needs to make a report, and I want to kind of check and make sure I've got all the names right before I
Okay.
go off tonight. And you will be introduced as board members, but just not seen.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Thanks, Linda, for making me make that clearer.
Yeah, because just it's very different than what we normally do.
Yeah. Okay. So we were still going through the rules that we bring up at the beginning. The next one is members will indicate their desire to speak by using the raise hand symbol on the participants page and wait until recognized by the presiding officer. So, because we need to recognize them in the correct order, and we need to make sure everybody is recognized, and we can't have 100 people on the screen and be able to handle that. If a member wishes to call for a parliamentary inquiry, these are the ones that remember can interrupt, point of order, appeal a ruling, or ask a question for information. It's not set up so we can't practice it tonight, but we'll practice it. Is this part of the meeting on Saturday? You go to the Q&A section of Zoom and write in there point of order or parliamentary inquiry. And John will see that, or are you going to do that? And we'll let the president know that he needs to recognize you.
Right. Or is Linda running the meeting at that point, or is it?
Well, she never runs the meeting. He's always running the meeting.
Okay, gotcha.
She's giving her reports when she needs to give them. Okay, let's see. And where's my timer? We tried to figure out how to use a timer, and we figured the easy way was I'm going to have this timer, and tell me if you can hear it. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Can people hear that? And Andrew, John and Andrew, if you guys hear it, but nobody else does, you might tell each other that the time is up, or make it some way to, or tell the person their time is up. That was the best we could come up with at this point. That work for people? Okay. And then what the chair asks at the end of the presentation of those, is there any objection to those procedures? And I assume there will not be, because they're pretty basic toward making it work for this large of a crowd on a Zoom. Do you have any questions or concerns? Okay. And, okay. Again, if there's not a quorum, we will go ahead and we'll just, that's explained in the script for Andrew, so people know why we're going ahead even though we don't have a quorum. I have one organization for the past 20 years has never had a quorum at their annual meeting, and they go give their reports and they report the results of the election and they're done. So, and that counts according to Robert's Rules of Orders and state law as having held your annual meeting.
I learned something new this year.
That, oh yeah, you didn't know
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
that. Okay. And then Linda's going to appear on a video introducing the candidates and telling the group about the Unitech. Is that what it is?
Unilect.
Unilect. after, and introduce the candidates, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I've already got my video and with that script that you approved. I did my video today and John already has it.
okay, great. So there's some good things about Zoom that we can deal with things, but there's some bad things about Zoom that make it difficult. Okay. Then the committee reports. We've always scheduled up to 10 minutes. And Andrews wrote to you that you had the 10 minutes. And let me just check. Oh dear. I have architectural control is Rich Bradley.
Bailey.
Bailey. How did I get Bradley?
Our names are much too close
I have
together.
no idea. But
Okay, and then
I'll be able to
Joshua.
talk it. So Andrew has my report.
So what are you saying?
I said, I won't be able to attend. I'll be out of pocket. So Andrew has my written report.
Okay. So would you then will Andrew, we'll just have you say the report is available on, where is the report available?
It's going to be posted online, I believe.
Okay,
That's true, correct, Joe? And I believe I forwarded to Joe and Oryx everyone's report that they've sent me.
We'll get the full package together and they will all be posted on the website.
okay.
Are you just put them on the website? Or are you going to put them under the AGM tab? Just,
They'll be under both.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
And Andrew, you're just going to refer them for the document review to the documents online?
Yes.
Okay, who's doing emergency preparedness?
It'll be submitted. Nobody's going to be reading anything. It'll just be as submitted.
Okay. And Andrew, the other Andrew, just how do you say your last name?
AJ.
Tischletter,
Okay, and you don't go by Andrew, you go by,
AJ is fine, just
okay.
to not cause confusion.
Okay, and so you're doing that, and Parks and Trails is Karen, right?
Yes.
Great. Now, I'd like to make a suggestion. If you're going to actually give an oral report, my suggestion is that you highlight one or two things, that you try to hold it down to under 5 minutes. And do not read your report. They can read that. So what you would do is try to highlight, and Joe, this would be for you too. I understood you didn't want to make too much of a report, but for you to just highlight some things and maybe mention things that are needed for the future, but try to be as brief as possible. Does that
Okay.
make some sense?
That's fine.
Everybody else? Are you comfortable with that?
I had a plan just to read my report, so now I'm going to have to practice, but it's okay.
But don't
Be
read,
able-
yeah, they're too long. And reading reports are not very interesting to the people listening, particularly with the distance that happens with Zoom. So if you just say, my report's on the website, and some things we accomplished this year were this and this, and we really are excited about working on such and such. That can be enough for a report.
Sounds good.
And so you don't have to practice too much.
So may I just ask one question to
Sure.
follow up on? So I believe I've received the narrative reports from Rich Bailey, AJ. Am I missing anyone else's report that you've sent me?
Emergency
sent mine.
preparedness and parks and trails, you haven't said for.
Yeah, I sent mine to Oryx, but I can forward that to you. And I also had a treasurer's report for finance, which probably isn't super interesting. I could just point people to the.
Well, you
That's
might
why I
have
say
to
one
say
thing.
some things about the finances,
Yeah.
but try to figure out what you need to say and leave out the things you don't need to say.
Absolutely. I can do that. I can keep it short.
Great.
And if you've already sent it to Oryx, that's perfect, Karen. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Oh, one more thing about Joe. Did you notice, I didn't send you the script, but we're having Andrew introduce you and have you introduce the staff that are there.
Yes.
Okay. And then the only other thing is the property owner's comments. And the way Andrew, I changed it slightly and I have it this way. And again, we want to encourage people to feel that they can say something, but try to keep it down a bit. And sometimes there aren't too many comments at an annual AGM. So it says your comments are limited to 3 minutes. We're allotted a total of 15 to 20 minutes for comments. And as soon as the comments are done, we will go directly to the election results, which is what our encouragement is for them to not make a whole lot of comments. And Linda has figured out a way to get the materials so that it can be projected of the results.
Yes, we got, yeah, Rachel and I'll work on that tomorrow too. But if she found the magic thumb drive that Lisa has always used. And I think I still have to work out how Unilect is going to give us the results of the voting, but the N&E committee is going to be around that room when they're doing the final balloting and stuff. So somehow I know they will print out results for me for everything. They know and they have seen a copy of the unofficial results. So they know what we're looking for with percentages and that sort of thing. So they're aware of what one of those looks like.
Okay. Was there anything else, the ones who were at the meeting, that I was going to remark on? Or do you have a question, AJ?
I have a question. You mentioned limiting the property owner comment time, like the block time for like everybody to speak.
Andrew, do you want to talk about that? Because you suggested that we do that.
I mean, like you mentioned, like limiting it at like a half hour or something, or 20 minutes.
I said 15 to 20 minutes.
I guess my concern is this is a meeting of the membership and we shouldn't be restricting their right to speak. I understand having a singular time limit for each individual, so
Yeah.
there's no like filibuster or anything of the whole meeting, but I don't think we should cut off the ability for everyone to speak their mind at their meeting.
Okay, let me try another way to say this then. We would like to have the comments be 15 to 20, last 15 to 20 minutes, but if more people wish to speak, we will continue.
Okay, that works for me.
Does that fit everybody?
I do. I have a question when you get done answering, AJ.
I think I'm done. Does anybody have any other concerns about?
I'm looking at item 14, Roman numerals, where we announce that it's property owner comments time. And it says here, chair, now is the time for property owner comments. Remember, your comments are limited to 3 minutes, but then the script says, please approach the microphone for recognition. Shouldn't we change that to John?
Yes, good.
Then explaining how somebody explaining how they're going to be recognized to make their comments.
Okay, and how are we doing that, John?
It's the raise hand feature in Zoom.
Okay, so we'll get that in there.
Yep.
Okay.
It's essentially the same thing as lining up at the mic.
Okay, this is, and I'll probably put the wording in there that says, instead of lining up at the mic, you will use the raise hand, even, and wait to be recognized.
Yeah.
Okay, AJ.
I guess I'm curious. I'm watching people read documents and I don't recall ever receiving anything. And I guess it would have been handy prior to this discussion to maybe have been given a copy of whatever we're referencing.
Well, the board doesn't usually get the copies. This is each year I prepare a script for the president.
Okay, well,
That's what the meeting was. And so I've gone over the whole script right now. And
that's fine.
I don't think I've left anything out that might be controversial because everything's the same otherwise that we've always done. But we don't mean to be excluding. It's just that it's sort of a waste of, you shouldn't have to read that ahead of time.
Well, I don't know. I have some concerns over the quorum thing. It seems like we're just giving Andrew carte blanche to just decide if there's a quorum or not.
Okay, this is the problem. We're allowing him to rule, and if anybody wants to, they can appeal his ruling in the normal appeal process. And maybe I should put that in there. I'm going to be with Andrew, and I are going to be socially spaced in the ad building. And so I'll be there to advise him on that and help him to figure out if 300 people are on there, there's got to be 50 that are members, right? Not going to have this who wants to go to a meeting on a Saturday? I think there may be a couple of people, but if there's 300 on, I would say to Andrew, rule there's a quorum.
Quick interjection here. Our Zoom account allows for a maximum of 100 people.
Oh,
Are
okay.
we anticipating more than 100?
You never know.
I would love it if we'd get 100.
I would say we've had close to 100 the last couple meetings.
Right now, there's
Maybe
25.
not so much in the distant past.
Yeah, right now there's 25. It says 25 participants. I'm sure that counts us also, correct?
No, it's separate. Panelists and attendees are separate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we could,
what's this
but-
25?
25 is the total between the two groups, yeah.
during the meeting, I mean, since all the whole board of directors will be in the attendees, they will count. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on this, it says that there are 15 panelists and 10 attendees.
Mhm.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This meeting right here.
This meeting,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So we have the 15 of us as panelists and there are 10 people in the audience is
Okay.
what I'm reading.
Okay. So they're hearing all this discussion. Well, this is something that we can talk about now. And this is how we make these decisions is I appreciate you bringing up your concerns about this. So as nothing happens at the meeting, no action happens at the meeting. The membership does not have the way you now run your meeting, because you're voting out of here, voting ahead of time, and always have since I've been with you all. It doesn't matter whether there's a quorum. It's just that you say there's a quorum or not. Does that make sense? Am I explaining it well enough?
Is there any, would we run the meeting any differently, or would we take any different action if we didn't have a quorum?
We might allow more discussion for the issues, but there's no reason to discuss the issues because they're not convincing anybody because everybody's turned their
We've
ballot.
already voted, yeah.
So there's absolutely no, and the discussion is in itself a part of a formal meeting, of that kind of discussion. So there's no reason to have any discussion for this. So, and other than that, the meeting isn't any different with a quorum or without a quorum because you don't take any official action as members at this meeting. You've taken your official action by turning in your vote.
And is when just to clarify something for my brain. So we do all the reporting of the unofficial results. N&E goes and certifies the election. Then at the board meeting in November, because there's normally only one, that's presented, because that's the soonest it can be presented to a board to take action. But then when that report is given, then that's when the board votes to accept the results.
And that's the board accepting, not the membership.
Gotcha. Okay, just, I wanted to make that clear. That was kind of confusing, but I got it.
Leslie?
Yeah, I have a question. It may be for John. During these regular board meetings, if somebody raises their hand from the audience and wants to come in, we don't actually show their picture. We just see the square. Okay. Now, will the same thing happen during this meeting? That you simply will see, you know, the black square with their name on it and they speak, or will we actually see pictures of people?
No, I believe it'll just be the black square. I think it's actually up to the person on the other end whether they want to turn their camera on.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
I believe you can do that, but
Could you check that, John? And then we need to fit that in somewhere so it's clear to people that they can do that.
actually, I'm almost positive of that. I'll double check, but I'm almost positive when you come over as an attendee, you can choose to provide video.
I'd like you to check that because I have attended committee meetings on Zoom and have spoken, and I have never seen my picture come up.
I'm not sure if it gives a notification at the time that you come over. It probably just has you in with stopped video. You'd have to actually go down to the controls in Zoom.
Okay, and actually select something. Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe I've seen it in an ACC meeting where we've brought people over, like contractors and such, and they've turned their cameras on. I believe that's where I've seen that.
And
But I'll double check. But
Thank you.
And John, you need to look at the script again and see how that could be said so it's clear to people, because I don't have a good concept of that.
will do.
And let's see if you can let me know tomorrow and we can get it in there.
Sounds good.
And just a couple things on the script where you've got listed where Andrew's going to read the result. You've got the positions for nominations and elections still at elected for 3-year terms. We're only 2-year terms.
Okay, let me see what I've got in. Okay, just a minute. Now this is for the, which one?
It's for nominations and elections. Because you do the boards, and that's correct. And then you do for the positions of the Nominations and Election Committee, Michael Wadsworth, Nancy Alionak, and Steve Workman were elected, and it should be for 2-year terms. We're not 3 years. We're the stepchild of the board, of the bylaws, actually.
2 years. That's one I didn't get checked.
Yep, and the other one right below it,
3
ACC,
years.
they are 3 years, yes.
Yeah, and I thought I made that change and it looks like it didn't get in it.
Okay, that's okay. I just didn't want him to say the wrong thing.
Okay, that's important. It takes several eyes to get all these things accurate. Several pairs of eyes. Or maybe not. Could be one eye. Anything else you have any concerns about the procedures?
I guess I would like a copy of the script. So if you could email that to the whole board, that'd be good.
Is there, Andrew, are you comfortable with that, or the?
Oh,
Well,
sure.
it seems
Why-
like
why
half
not?
the board already has the whole script anyway. So in the sake of transparency,
The
it's-
only ones that do are John and Linda and Paula and Andrew.
that doesn't seem like an issue to me, but I guess I learned best from reading and not like talking verbally. So
Okay, if that's okay with everybody, you might want to make it an official action. Like a motion to have the script sent to the whole board, and then let's just vote on it and we'll do it. Is that
I'll
okay?
send the
Okay.
script to the entire board.
Second,
Session. All those in favor of sharing the script with the full board, signify by saying aye or raising your hand. All those opposed?
Okay, so
Seeing
what's-
none, motion passes.
Let's see. It's the way you have your board emails on the website. I can't just hit up one button and have them all. Can I get them all to pop up? I think I did see, so I can do it.
Just BOD at Sudden Valley. We'll send it to everybody.
Fantastic. I will do that tonight. No, I'm going to do it tomorrow after I get the changes in that we've got to get in. Then, or do you want them tonight as it is? That'd be fine. And,
Either or. I'd
I'd
would
like the
like to
accurate one
familiarize
after the
myself
changes.
with
are
it.
okay,
Yeah.
and what did you say, Leslie? I got Andrew.
Okay, I would prefer the corrected one, which would be the accurate one tomorrow.
Okay, so John, you and I are on the spot to get that information in so we can get it out tomorrow.
All right, you got it.
Okay. Any other concerns or questions? Okay. Andrew, do you need me anymore tonight?
No, just want to pause for a minute and say thank you for all your hard work on this. And I can tell how much work has been put into this, and John and Linda and others. So thank you, everyone. I think this is going to help us have a real smooth, efficient meeting. And we'll see you Saturday.
Yeah.
And Andrew, a quick note, Nancy Alienak has her hand raised in the audience.
Oh, she might have a question for Ann while she's still here.
That's true. Do you want to hang out for a moment longer, Ann?
Yeah, I can hang around for a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and bring Nancy on over. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah. I mean, Andrew has to decide that. I'm not in control here.
I don't hear any objections, so go ahead.
Okay. There you go, Nancy. I've brought you on over.
Thank you. Nancy Alienak for Sandalwood Circle. And this is actually a question for John. If we only have 100 maximum Zoom license, what happens to the 101st person that tries to log in?
I'll have to double check with Zoom, but I presume that they would get just a message that says the meeting is full.
Okay, I think people should know that up front.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you for
put that
bringing
on
me
the air.
in. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Nancy. I'll go ahead and return you to the audience.
Yeah, we could just put something up on the AGM portion that gives them a link to the YouTube account in case the meeting's full, right?
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. We'll do that.
Ooh, I've got that notice that I put up today and I could modify that. I put one up kind of trying to explain, because I'm sure a lot of people have not come to our meetings before, and there's some signing up you have to do if you want to come to the Zoom meeting. So I'll go ahead and modify that announcement, John, because I already have, and I'm going to see Lauren tomorrow and I'll get it all taken care of. That'll take away from you a little bit.
Sounds good, Linda.
Okay, and then I have a question. If they call in, can they then ask their question or make their statement, I guess, is my concern.
So obviously there isn't a way to add something to Q&A over the phone. You can raise your hand. I believe it's *9. So for somebody that's calling in on the phone, I would have to make an assumption during the meeting if they raised their hand and bring them in and ask them, what, if this is a point of order or a point of information. I'm pretty new to all this, so I'm not sure what all the options are, but
Right. No, I'm with you. It is getting confusing. My concern, I'll just tell you why I'm asking, because if the 101st person can't get in, then it's a closed meeting.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question here. I mean, if we feel as though we need to go with a larger account, I mean, I can look at doing that.
I have no idea.
As a parliamentarian, I think the issue Steffi raises is very important, that people ought to have the right to participate. And so I don't know what that would do to take the number up.
Well, I mean, you're all leaders of the community. I'm kind of leaning on you guys to let me know if you feel that 100's enough or if we need to go bigger than that. If we're going to have better attendance than that, I'm happy to see what we need to do to upgrade the account.
I think it's better to go bigger than to run into what Steffi just said. You know, do we think 200 guys?
I was just gonna ask, do we know what the next step is and what the price point difference is? Might not matter, but
it's $50 and it goes up to 300.
Oh, yeah.
Can we do it for just the month even? I mean,
Yeah, I think we can do that.
yeah, I'd say do it.
Okay, I think that makes
We
a
make
lot
a
of sense.
motion.
Everybody else concur?
You want a motion? I'll make one.
I don't know if that's broken out, if you have to pay for a whole year, or if that's per month, though, that would be something. I mean, I just want to, before you make a motion on that, I just want to put it out there. I'm not positive about that. I think we did a full year, so I'm not sure.
So how about a motion to have staff double check and to make the purchase based
And
off?
increase the number of participants for the AGM.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
Not
it
to
really
exceed.
does it matter how much it costs really? It sounds like if we, you know, this is something we need to do, it's something we need to do. And it doesn't sound like
It's possible. Hey,
$1
we
million.
paid for 1,900 people to return their ballots. So I'm going to get some money back there. So I'm
Go to your budget
with a credit here on my AGM account. So it's all gonna get charged to there.
The style of account we have, it looks like it would cost us about another $100, and it would bring us to 500.
Okay. Then I am going to make a motion that we purchase the upgrade to our Zoom account so that we can accommodate more attendees.
Second.
And right here is really important that Andrew, you need to repeat that motion so it's clear and that Karen can make sure it's stated the way she stated it. That's really important whenever you make a motion, no matter how big the meeting is.
The motion was to purchase an upgrade to the Zoom account to accommodate the AGM needs.
Very good, Paula.
Perfect.
Good question.
Any further discussion?
Yeah. Do we need to specify what account the money comes out of? Because if this is operations, you just simply ask the general manager to do it. Are we going to take the money out of UDR? What are we going to do? How much are we talking about?
I believe it was the McRoberts account.
So,
John, how much are we looking at? What are we looking at?
$100.
$100 for the year?
No. This would just be for the month, just for the period of time to cover the AGM.
Just for the AGM, that would come out of operations.
Thank you.
Tag it with the election stuff.
I'll probably put it under Linda's AGM account.
Because there's
Yeah.
15,000 in there.
Makes sense to me.
in that case, do we even need a motion or if we're just asking the GM to make this happen?
I think you do.
Yeah, we
'cause
just made a
something
motion
that
to
was
send it.
discussed.
We did an email, so I think we should definitely vote on this. But before we do, Brent has his hand up. I'm not sure if what he has to say affects any of this. So
It was just a suggestion. I was just looking at the YouTube page, and if you didn't want to spend the money, there is YouTube, which I don't think has a viewer limit. But that was before all of that, so you can disregard.
I think it's a matter of being able to get the calls and call-ins and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just saying if you wanted to direct people who just want to watch to YouTube, then. But anyway, that was a while back, so.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Thank
it's all
you.
good. It's all good.
Call the question.
Uh,
Go ahead, Ann.
And
Sounds like
Andrew,
you,
what you need to say is there anybody objects to voting on this now? Because one person can't call the question.
yeah, that's, they typically hear someone asking to call the question, and then typical form is to ask if there's any further discussion.
Okay.
So any further discussion? So hearing none, we'll call the question, which is to upgrade our Zoom account to accommodate the AGM need from our operations account. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. I think our members will appreciate that.
And I'm going to leave. Bye.
Thank you again, Ann.
Thank you,
Bye,
Ann.
Ann. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks, Ann. Have a good night.
Okay, we'll move into our next business item, which is item B, our surf request and the golf cart fleet replacement. Go ahead, Joe and or Brian.
Even, I'm just going to turn this right over to Brian.
Okay, thank you all very much. I'll just kind of give the highlights. Obviously, I've been told I'm not supposed to read this in its entirety. So, we've had a really successful run with our current fleet. We've got 38 2014 carts and 10 2012 golf carts. We were able to get 7 and 9 seasons out of them respectively. So we're very pleased with how this fleet has performed, but they are getting to the end of their life. They're getting to the point where we're having very frequent breakdowns with them on the course, which causes problems both in level of service and obviously on the revenue side as well. So it is, and then also the use got pushed a little bit even more this year because of the requirements for us due to COVID restrictions to allow single rider carts. So the cart fleet this year has been pushed even harder than it would be in a normal year. So it's definitely time to bring in a new fleet. And my recommendation is that we go with a 5-year capital lease. I did provide information on both capital and operational leases. I provided quotes from the three different major manufacturers. Our current fleet is a club car fleet. This fleet has served us very well. They brought out a demo for us that we tested for a couple weeks that performed really well. EasyGo, the other major vendor, provided a demo that actually did not operate very well, and that cart is priced above the EasyGo, above the club car. The other vendor is Yamaha, and while they are priced lower than club car, they did not provide a demo. And after doing a little bit of research, I've found out that they struggle on hilly courses. So typically, with our back nine being quite hilly, I'd be nervous about bringing in a cart that had a reputation for not doing well on a hilly course. So my recommendation is to stick with club car. And again, the idea of going with a capital lease, I think, is a good idea. I like the idea of being able to run the carts as we did this year for 2 seasons without any payments. It gives you great flexibility. The idea of owning the carts, I think, at the end of the lease is a good way to go. I've been really happy with how it's worked out this time. So my recommendation is to go with a 5-year capital lease, which gives us the option at the end of that lease to hopefully operate them for another year or 2 without any expense. So with that, I'll answer any questions you guys might have. Should I pick people to, or is that Andrew? Is somebody else supposed to do that, or can I just?
Ladies first.
Okay. Hey, Linda.
Okay, I have 3 of them.
Okay.
Questions. So the first one is, it says in here that Yamaha's reputation for post-sale service would also fall well below that of Club Car. So what sort of post-sale service do we get from Club Car?
So the carts have each of the manufacturer offers a 4-year warranty. So we end up getting a certain amount of warranty repair, and Club Car is quite responsive when we need repair or parts. And even beyond the warranty period, we still end up needing to get parts from the distributor. And Club Car does a really good job with that. Yamaha, not so much.
Okay, then my next question is, you say that if we do a capital lease, that then we have an additional season or 2 with no cash outlay. Tell me I'm wrong, but didn't we and don't we have, and I don't think it's all been spent yet, that there was in excess of $20,000 that was refurbishment that we spent on the carts to make them nice to be able to use for the couple of years?
Right. That's a good point. So you're correct. And so I shouldn't have said no cost. And that was a decision that we made. I think it was a good decision to spend the $20,000 to refurbish them. But and you're right. It was, I think, $20,000 or $21,000, and it was. I think it was very worthwhile. I just couldn't be more pleased with how this fleet has performed. And I think a big part of it was, a significant part was the $20,000 that we spent on cosmetics and mechanical issues as well. So yeah, I'm sorry. That's
no, that's okay. Just wanted to clarify. The last one is just, it's all in one. It's on the pricing page. It says here, Club Car has guaranteed this rate only through 12/31/20, but that's for the full 5 years of the lease, that 3.75%.
Correct. Yeah. Once we sign the lease documents, that rate's locked in for the 3 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It just wasn't clear to me. And are you surprised that they gave us the lowest trade-in value considering with our fleet is from them?
Yeah, I think part of that is with the kind of you could look at the price of the cart too, and that's one of the reasons I was surprised that the EasyGo cart honestly was priced above the club car. But then again, then you see they give a higher trade-in value.
Yeah.
So I think that they kind of relate to each other.
Okay, I'm done.
Scott, did you have a question?
I did. Excuse me. On page 8, special consideration, you talk about the 2021 carry-all 300 gas range picker for nothing. What would that cost you to purchase?
So the club car version and the EasyGo version of the range picking vehicle is $13,000, and the Yamaha version is $8,500.
So why are they willing to give that to you?
Because they like to lease golf carts. They like to essentially sell golf carts. So they're very competitive. Matter of fact, at first, Club Car, and this is pretty cool. Last time when we did this, Club Car gave us a range picking vehicle to use during the 5-year term, and then at the end of the 5-year term, they took back ownership of it. So we actually ended up having to buy it from them. But this time, both EasyGo and Yamaha offered to outright give us the cart, so we owned it, the range picking vehicle. And I took that, I let my club car salesman know that, and he matched that. So instead of not having ownership after the 5 years, we actually will own the range picking vehicle after 5 years, thanks to me having some leverage based on what the other manufacturers offered.
One last question. Are we the hilliest golf course in Whatcom County?
Well, not necessarily. Shuckson Golf Course might be a little hillier than us. If our back nine was this, if both nines were like our back nine, then we would be. But our front nine's quite flat, but the back nine is quite hilly. So there's probably one other course in Whatcom County that's a little hillier.
I see. Yeah, because I did a little survey today, and Yakima is, Yamaha is at several courses in Whatcom County, as I was told.
North Bellingham and Raspberry Ridge.
Yeah, there was one other one. I can't remember now, but I have the list. I could show you. Thank you.
AJ?
Oh, man.
I had a question. So I appreciate you explaining why you went with the gas powered ones. I think a lot of people will have concerns about that with the watershed and stuff. What I'm curious about is like electric cars are coming a long way here. Do we think maybe by the time this 5-year lease is up, the electric carts might be better positioned? You know, I'd love to get away from the gas and stuff in the watershed. And I think most of the community would probably agree with that. You know, obviously we don't need excess breakdowns, you know, due to them not being equipped. But I'm curious as to what the pulse is on that with the golf community.
Yeah, that's a good question, and there's been a really significant development recently with a lithium battery being developed for golf cart use. It is relatively new, probably 3 years old, and one of the manufacturers, I think EasyGo, is actually has a better reputation with their lithium battery than Club Car does. My hope in 5 years or 5 to 7 years, AJ, is that I would love to go to an electric cart, and the lithium batteries, if they perform, the nice thing is in 7 years we will see some history with how these batteries are performing. But there's so much lower maintenance. They weigh less. So I think it's the way of the future. I think they're still quite rare. There's very few. I think there's only 1 or 2 fleets that I know of from Everett to the border that have a fleet with lithium batteries. But my expectation is that in 5 to 7 years, when we are looking at carts, that they will be a viable option. The other component to us having an electric fleet would be having indoor storage. The challenge to having an electric fleet is that I've seen one course that's stored them outside. It's risky, and you run a risk with your warranty for not storing them indoors. But so I would say almost every golf course that has electric carts has an indoor storage facility. So that would be part of the component that we'd want to look at. I think an indoor facility would, building a pole building maybe down in the lower lot would be a great option for us to consider. And I love the idea of going electric. And my hope is that for our next lease, I think it'll be a much more viable option.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. And then I just kind of have one more kind of a statement. You know, I went in and looked at some of the financials. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but it looks like our golf carts are bringing in revenue over 100,000 a year, upwards of like 120. So I guess, the community is always out watching us, and, I just like the community to understand that this is an asset that, pays for itself to replace itself, and while simultaneously providing a revenue stream, to cover additional costs at the golf course. So, that's a major plus.
That's a great point. Thanks. Karen, was your hand up?
Well, it was. I know Josh was in front of me, but
I'm sorry.
wanted.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I'm good. My question was answered.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I wanted to tag onto that because you had mentioned in the finance committee meeting, I believe, that with new carts, you were considering higher rates next year. Is that factored into your budget for golf cart revenue, or might it be a little higher than what you projected in the budget?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's not factored in, and I will almost certainly raise rates. We've been holding off to raise rates because the fleet's getting a little aged, but we will absolutely plan to raise rates this year, and it's not in that was not planned for in my budget.
Okay, and then the second piece of that was, I'm assuming that somewhere between you and Turf Care, there's some maintenance costs for the golf carts that will go down with the new fleet. And so I guess what I'm asking is, are you expecting that this will help your bottom line for next year, both with increased revenue from the rental and some amount of decreased maintenance?
Yes, I would expect both an improvement in revenue and a reduction in expense on repair and maintenance for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Silly question. What color are we going with?
We've been really happy with blue. So
my son loves blue.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the blue's been good. They've got some cool new colors out. Some courses have been. One of our demos was gray, which is kind of, I thought kind of cool too. But we'll probably I'm kind of tend to stick with what works, and the blues held up really. I've been really pleased with the cosmetics of these carts. I mean, I just can't say how happy I am, and honestly surprised with how well they've held up for 7 seasons. So yeah, but probably blue. We're leaning blue.
We're going to put our logo on them too.
Yes. Yeah, they will. They will have that part. It's part of the quote. We will definitely have our logo on them.
So can I go ahead and make a motion so that we are discussing this under the right pretenses here? I didn't squeak that in before we started talking. So I move that the Finance Committee has reviewed and recommends that the Board of Directors approve an allocation from the SURF Fund not to exceed $36,780 per year for 5 years to enter into a 5-year capital lease for a fleet of 50 gas-powered 2021 club car golf carts.
Second.
So we have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion on the table is to approve an allocation from the SURF Fund not to exceed $36,780 per year for 5 years to enter into a 5-year capital lease for a fleet of 50 gas-powered 2021 club car golf carts. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I just want to clarify. I think I heard Director Jones say aye.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a random question for Brian related to golf carts. I was looking at their website and they had these like cool automated walk behind ones or whatever. Have you guys ever tried those out on the course or?
I have not tried them. They are insanely expensive. They cost dang near as much as a golf. They actually might be a little more than a golf cart. So I've seen them demoed, and they're cool. You have the remote control on your belt, and they follow you around. So
they look cool. I never would have expected. I guess when you get automation, you start paying for the computer.
Yeah, there's actually another.
Like segways out here or something before?
Yeah, we have golf boards that I'm not sure if you've seen those. Those are pretty cool. They have 4 wheels, and they've got the board is kind of the side of a snowboard, and there's a handle that you can hold onto and where your clubs go, and it's 4-wheel all electric, 4-wheel drive electric powered, and you steer them by leaning. So it's either there's no steering mechanism, so you really have to lean. They're pretty cool and very popular. So.
Yeah, when we first looked at our house out here, I saw some people out there, and I was like, "What is this place?
What are they doing?" Yeah.
Hey,
You
Brian.
looked at the motorcycle ones?
Okay, I have considered those actually too. Yeah.
They have those at Avalon? Is that?
Avalon has them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Scott.
Is there any revenue to be made, or is it allowed to have sponsors sponsor a cart? Like for naming rights, like a stadium. Is there a cart with their name on it for a year? Or is that too?
Yeah. So I've never seen it on golf carts, but you do see at some golf courses, you'll see, benches that have advertising on them, or scorecards that have advertising on them. So you can offset some expenses. There's not a ton of revenue to be made there. And there's a little bit of a sacrifice in terms of the look that you get and the image that you create. So you wouldn't see it, Scott, typically at courses, at a lot of courses that we compete with. You wouldn't see that.
I was just curious. Thank you.
Okay.
Any final questions or comments from Brian? Well done. Thank you so much.
Well, I thank you guys I really appreciate the support. It'll be really great for us to get these carts coming. So I appreciate your support.
As long as we get the first rides, Brian.
You got it. You come on down. We'll see if we can soup one up for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Maybe us board of directors can all have our own spot with our club
Your own
card.
parking spot?
Yeah.
like
Okay. Well, I know we have more to get through. We'll move into item C. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. This change order pains me to bring to you guys. As you can see, gate 28 is going to be my albatross this fall. So what you will see in Tyler's his breakdown on page 2, everything that is left to be done. I have been in contact with him a little bit tonight. Some of the restoration is going to be less, as well as some of the hauling. So he's thinking somewhere around 10 to 15,000 less than that 70,000 right now to get everything done. So that's where we stand. And then before anybody asks, I know AJ is going to ask this question, being the county guy, I am going to get load tickets to see exactly what's going to be hauled out of here, so that I can weigh it up and back it up to whatever he says is there to get it out. So I will have load tickets.
You want a motion? So we can start discussing. Hold on, let me get to the wording. Sorry.
It should actually say road fund. My copy, I typed it in my one copy, and I don't know if that was the one I sent to you guys. At the very bottom, it should say road fund.
It does. It says capital roads.
Okay, mine, the one I have here, my original one, I didn't have it on it, so I have my original. It doesn't say roads on it, so.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm looking at one that says 50,000, but
Nope,
that's,
the other side. It should be
Okay.
70.
hold on.
It should say roads on it. Does it? And if I typed it and I might have sent you the wrong ones.
Let me make sure
No, you sent us the right ones. I can read the one I've got, Joe, from November 4th. I just can't vote on it, but I can read it.
Okay, it says 70,000 from the roads fund.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a request in order to ensure safe and reliable access to the homes on Southern Court. SVCA Management is requesting funding allocated from the Capital Roads Fund not to exceed $70,000 to continue the necessary work identified in the geotest report.
Second. Or was that a motion? Sorry, or do you want me to read it? Did you move to?
I wrote it. I put it down as a motion.
Okay, and I seconded it.
Yeah. Yes, she can make a motion. She just can't vote.
Yep. I can second, I can motion, I just can't vote.
So discussion.
Yes, Linda.
Okay, here I go. So on page 2 of PNC's discussion, they say, he writes, to complete the above scope of work, a change order is requested in the amount of $70,000. The current budget is $110,000 less $105,000 spent through 11/3. Now, here's my first question. I thought we had approved prior to this $130,000.
Yes, the difference with that, Linda, is the 20,000 for the other final test to figure out what we're going to do going forward. This is just for the actual hauling of and tearing down of all the material.
All right, it's not mentioned in there, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, we got extra money in here, folks.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wondered is he has the amount of remaining to complete, and adding 10% contingency on work to complete. Wouldn't that be more than the 70,000?
Yeah, you're right. But as I was talking with, like I said, with him tonight,
okay.
He is going to be under that, he feels, with some of the restoration work as well as some of the hauling.
Okay.
There are actually quite a few loads left for what he said. So we're going to save on that. That's why I really want the load tickets, so I can match up the load tickets to the actual amount hauled out. And then
I just wanted to clarify that, Joe.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
okay. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, AJ.
The geotech report, you just said we're doing 20 grand. Are we getting a design with that we can then build, or
Yeah, we're going to get all of what.
like, are we getting the
an
full package to bid?
We will get an estimate of what it will cost and the program to do what to do. Initially, from what Tyler has mentioned, they're thinking about doing the mesh and the concrete as one of the options. I would try to I would tend to stay away from that because, you know, as well as I do, that could get kind of costly. And if there's better ways and better options, yeah, the shotcrete. When the report comes out, AJ, when I get it, I want to spend about an hour with you to go over it and figure out that it might be a better way to do it and a cheaper way.
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious as to how is the report different from the one that you gave us at the beginning of this?
This will be the full costs of what each option will be, the full scope of work.
Okay.
That's why when I get that, AJ, I want to sit down with you because I want to tear it apart a little bit tighter and look at it and see what might be a better option.
Would the rest of this work be then done during a better time of the year? There is no good time.
There is no good time. Right now we're in our rain season and we're about ready to get into our snow season. That will come in the report on how long we can push this out. If we can push it with no substantial problems from the mountain until April, May, June of next year, then we'll push it out that far.
Yeah, I think you'd have to get a pretty clear weather window if it's, well, I mean, I guess it depends. If you're doing that shotcrete stuff, that stuff will have to cure and, need a weather window.
Yeah, and shotcrete, it's too cold at night. We got to have warmer temperatures for that to cure up. Anyways.
Hey, we can blanket it, right? Somebody can get up there and put those blankets on they put up for concrete. No, I'm being bad now.
Yeah, I wish I had the pictures. I got them on a big zip drive, just so everybody knows when they were doing this work, they actually had to build a road from the material that came off to drive up on to get further up. They were about 20, 25 feet up off the hardtop on a road that they built to continue to reach up and get the stuff that was coming down. It was a pretty neat picture. I wish, like I said, I've got it. I'm going to send them to everybody. There's a pretty good video as well, but quite a bit of pictures. So yes, AJ.
What's our confidence level then that we've scraped what we need to scrape, barring some other catastrophic weather event?
We are all the rotten rock is off. We are on solid face. We're on solid face.
Confidence level 0 to 100 on another change order that's not a permanent solution?
I am 110% confident that we have gotten all the rotten rock off and we're on the face, other than whatever we decide to do going forward. This will be it.
Joe, what are we going to do with that bridge at the other end?
That bridge, where you come up 28 and you turn left to go up into gate 5, that's above the scope of work.
No, I know it's separate from this. I'm just wondering where that's going to play.
If Sudden Valley was, I mean, we discussed this last night. At some point in time, we ought to look at closing most of that, if not all of that area out and off.
Well, and essentially,
you want to ask the members about that because that's their emergency way out of
everything, all of 28, just kind of close everything down as the years go forward. I mean, we spent, we're going to be potentially $180,000, $190,000 into something. I could use that can get me a lot of road work done.
That's true. I was gonna say, you should ask Jacob about the railroad.
There's another road, Linda, there that comes out to Lake Louise, that comes across there on one of the trails.
Oh, really?
Through area Y. Yeah, there's another road. It's got.
Oh, I know, but yes, you're absolutely right. It's down behind those houses. I know where you're talking about.
Yep. So there is another access out of there. There's even manhole covers down through there.
Yeah, that I know. I realize where you're talking about now. I don't know if I'd want to drive on that road. I'd almost rather take 28. I don't know.
I don't think neither one of them are very good, Linda. Neither one of them are very good.
Any further questions for Joe before we call the question? All right, we'll go ahead and call the question. The motion on the table is to allocate capital roads from the capital roads fund not to exceed $70,000 to continue the necessary work identified in Geotest's report. Did I get that right, Paula? All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That's it for our new business. So we'll move into our closed session if we have a motion.
Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your meeting, and I'll see you Saturday morning or afternoon.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can we have a 5-minute passing section or passing time between this and the next one?
Do we have another link? I only got one link from John.
I will resend the link to you.
I think I only got one from you. I think I just got one for this meeting.
And then before we all sign off, can we have a motion to move into closed session?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we move to closed session in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That would be,
7:25.
let's say 7:25.
Yeah.
I need a second.
Second.
Thanks.
We'll do that by acclamation. And John will send out the link again. Thank you, sir. And we'll see everyone at 7:25.
Yeah.
Are we all here?
I can't tell. Part of my screen still says we're in closed session.
Yeah, I can only see Linda right now. Nobody else.
Yeah, sorry,
There's
getting working on
Karen.
it.
He's working on it.
Was it? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll stay tuned.
There we are.
Okay, I think we've got everything going in the right direction.
What else are we waiting for? What?
Scott,
Scott. Yep.
Rich, he might not be back. I don't know. Not Rich Bailey, I meant.
Well, we'll wait maybe one more minute. How's that sound? And then we can wrap this up.
I'm sorry, I have posters stuck up all over my house with things I needed to do. And I throw them away as I accomplish them. No, there's so
Ever
much
see that
stuff
movie
with,
Memento?
no, there's so much stuff with the AGM right now and contacting Unilect and stuff. And if I don't leave the notes up, I'll forget to do it. But it got done today. Rachel did it. Yahoo!
Well, let's carry on. I think if the others chime in, they might figure it out.
Okay.
If that's okay with everyone here. We'll return to open session at 8:04. No action was taken in closed session. We need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait, do we have?
Wait.
No.
There's no member comments. Is
No.
there none
Okay.
since it's a special meeting?
Okay, sorry, that's all I was checking. So I do move to adjourn.
No, we can't adjourn. It's not midnight yet.
Midnight somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
Who's going to turn into a pumpkin? Are we adjourned?
I don't. Was there?
I don't think Karen got a second.
I seconded the
Josh
first time, but I did not
we are
second the
adjourned.
second.
I heard midnight, so I'm hanging out.
Good luck with that, Andrew.
I still want to head home at some point, so let's not do that.
Okay, we'll do that by
You guys-
acclamation.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Everybody.
Thanks, everyone.